All right, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Oliver Wath once again with another quick lesson. Lord, will it be edifying? First and foremost, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, by Hashem, Yahawashi, by Hashem, Rakakadash. And it's all praises to the Heavenly Father, in Son's name, who the world, EDOM, to call Jesus Christ, real name in the Hebrew, Yahawashi. All right, I'm back again with another lesson. This lesson isn't going to be long at all. Just wanted to bring out, just two articles, just try to, update the flock, on the times and seasons that we're living in, man. We're living in some interesting and beautiful, but yet dangerous times, but be of good cheer, Yahawashi, and his men already told us that these things must come to pass, before the ushering in of our Lord Yahawashi. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 7. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. He says, be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And this is the mindset that the hopeful elect must be in right now. They must be in that mindset of that sober, that clear and sober mindset, right? You're not drunk off of the philosophies and ideologies of Babylon. You're not drunk, even off of physical wine. You're watching, in the spiritual realm as well as in the physical realm, because things are amping up in the spirit. There's particular things that may not be beneficial for you to do right now. It may be lawful, but it may not be beneficial right now, just for the sake of the times that we're living in, right? He says, and watch unto prayer. And how do you watch? You watch by, looking out, in the lens of these prophecies, man, right? And this is why we constantly bring out, different news articles to let what's going on. But we actually, unlike, a lot of other whistleblowers, that may not be in the truth, we actually have a reason why, these things are happening, and we could filter it out through Bible prophecy. Let me grab this real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. And he says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries. Right. And that's what the sincere hearted, brothers are doing right now. We're prophesying against many countries, man. And with Babylon the Great being the chiefest of them. All right. He says, and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. Salakia, give me one moment. One moment. All right, Salakia about that, you all. I had a phone call to come in. So yeah, let's get back to that scripture. All right, this is Jeremiah 28 and 8. He says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And today, what we're going to touch upon just briefly, is this aspect of war, because the power that we serve, he's a power of war. Exodus 15:3 says that he is a man of war. And let's pull up these articles real quick. The first article I want to get into, it says, if you can see the screen, says Iran simulates blowing up U.S. Capitol in new Soleimani tribute video. And it says, let's read real quick. It says a new propaganda music video paying tribute to Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps General Qassem Soleimani depicts Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guards forces destroying the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. So this is the East raising up, as Bible prophecy said that it would, and it speaks about it, in multiple places in the Bible. Zechariah chapter 1, talks about 2nd Ezra 15, Jeremiah 50, and we'll just get, it's like one or two scriptures. We're not gonna Stay here all day. This is Second Ezra 15. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen real quick too. This is Second Ezra chapter 15, and we'll start at verse 28. All right, he says, behold, a horrible vision. All right, and when you go into that word vision in the Hebrew, right, it literally translates to prophecy. Right, so Ezra, saw this vision in the form of a prophecy that the Lord gave to him. He says, behold, a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east. See that? From the east. All right, so this is trouble and mayhem brewing up and stirring up from the east. All right, he says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. And that's what we see, man. Right, the Iranians, all those different Ishmaelites, even Russia and Britain and China. Hey, they're showing off, their military power. They're showing off their chariots, in the form of those, their aircrafts and also their MRAP vehicles, So he says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And you best believe that the elites, that's over here, in America, they're fearing and trembling. Right? The Bible said that they would be, and it shows through the way how they're moving right now. Right? Jeremiah 49 says that he will remove the wisdom out of teeming. Right? When someone doesn't have wisdom, they're in a constant state of panic and fearfulness. Well, and it shows, in the leaders of the United States. Right? They're making rash decisions. And he says, verse 30. Also the Carmenians, and Carmenians would be the East Indians, raging in wrath shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them and waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Now this is going into, the ancient land of Assyria, but when you read and understand Bible prophecy, America is also known as Assyria. He says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, right? And what is the nature of these? The East Indians, they descend from a man called Ishmael, right? And Ishmael, his blessing was, not blessing, but one of his characteristics when you read in Genesis, that he is a wild man, right? So when it says that they're remembering their nature, they're remembering their wild state of being, right? They live by their wild creature, So these people, they're about to stir up a lot of mayhem and confusion upon Babylon. He says, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. See that? And that's what's going on, man. they're stirring up great power to persecute Babylon the Great. Let me grab this real quick in Jeremiah chapter 50. It's Jeremiah 50, verse 6. And he says, no, not verse 6. What verse was that? Let's see. Jeremiah 50 and 14. And he says, put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about. Let's go to that word array. I did a video, a couple of weeks ago, going into, Zechariah chapter 1, and how, in particular, I believe it was India. They showed an underground basement of just, they called it Missile City. They showed an underground basement of missiles just lined up perfectly, man. Like not one was out of order. They were lined up perfectly in this underground bunker, right? And they just, created them. And they were set in array. They were set in order, right? So this word array in the Hebrew is arak, and it says to arrange, set or put or lay in order, prepare, order, ordain, handle, and furnish. See that? So when he says, let's go back to Jeremiah 50. He says, put yourselves in array against Babylon. Yeah, put yourselves in order against Babylon. The Lord is gathering up all his armymen in the form of these other nations, and he's got them lined up one by one. Kind of like that 50 Cent song, You know, my toy soldiers. Well, that's what the Lord is. Well, that's what these other nations are for the Lord. Right? They're his toy soldiers. And guess what? They're about to take down his arch nemesis, which would be a Babylon. Then he's going to eventually wipe them off too. Well, not them all completely, but you know, a good number of them. Right? Verse 14 says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. What does that mean? Bend the bow and shoot the arrows? Well, or bend the bow, basically prepare attack against her, right? And those arrows, when you dive into the scriptures, those arrows represent the missiles, right? Because what else would it be talking about? Obviously, an arrow can't go from one end of the earth until another, right? This arrow has to be, something more than just a regular arrow. These arrows are none other than ICBM missiles. All right, verse 15, shout against her round about, she have given her hand, right? When you go into the ancient custom of shouting before war, right? You shouting, let me just go into this word. Let's see if it has any significance. Yeah, it says to shout, raise a sound, cry, or give a blast. It says a war cry. Yeah. So these other nations are giving their war cry, basically letting America know that they're about to attack. Consider during the time of Joshua, right? When the children of Israel, when we were commanded to march around the walls of Jericho, see that, for 7 days. And what did we do on that last day? We shouted, and that shout symbolized that the walls of Jericho will be falling down. Well, guess what? The men of the Lord are back on the scene once again, shouting. And the walls of Babylon is about to come tumbling down. See that? He says, shout against her round about. She had given her hand. Yeah, if a woman gives you her hand, she's giving herself over to you. Well, that's what Babylon is basically doing, right? Not on their free will, but basically they're forced to give these other nations her hand because she has no more power, right? When all these other nations, they're in cahoots with each other, and they're conglomerate, and they got one mission in mind, and that's to overtake this one whore. Well, guess what? She has no choice but to surrender, man. It says her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of YAHAWAH. So, the 2/3 of our people, and the heathens, who want this place to continue, to go on, they want things to go back to normal. Well, guess what? It's not going to happen because this is set in the Lord's heart to overthrow this place. When you read Revelation chapter 17, it says that it's his will for this whore to be burned down with fire violently. See that? He says, take vengeance upon her as she had done, do unto her. And how's America done? Rape, rob, and murder, man, right? And terrorize everyone. So now it's time for America, also known as Babylon, to be terrorized. So let's get this last article real quick, and then we can end it out. It says, rumors of war, top Australian general warns of high likelihood of war with China. And Australia, they're allies with America, and America, they have to protect their allies. So now one of America's allies is warning, high likelihood, it's like a war with China. So what do you think that that means? Now America is basically getting thrust into this threat as well, right? He says Iran makes new threat against America, and pretty much every day right now, every morning when you wake up, Iran is just doing something. They're saying something. They're antagonizing America, and Trump really helped. And I thank God that he put it in Trump's mind, to basically stir up the nest before he got out of office. So you Americans, you Babylonians, y'all got a lot to look forward to, man. A bunch of death, confusion, fear, plagues, pestilences, and diseases. That's what you got in store for you, man. So you have no hope, unlike the hopeful elect over here. So I just wanted to bring those articles out. Hope you was edified. Until next time, Mawaf Labba and Shalom.